So very good morning all. Welcome to SAP ABAP on online session trainings. Okay, so let's continue with ABAP first and followed by ABAP and HANA. So then we'll move to UI5 Fury. So I'm a Upendar Reddy Nallori. So I'm working as a freelance corporate trainer. I have around 14 years of experience now. So did so many certifications, expertise area in this area. Let's continue. Today's topic is a demo. So write SAP ABAP demo here. So you know that in industry, SAP is a very booming. SAP occupied 80% of the market worldwide, captured by many industries. Okay, so right, SAP ABAP is a technical word, technical module actually. So before that, small introduction: what exactly SAP? How to pronounce it here? Many people they don't know, like they'll call SAP. Okay, so should not pronounce it SAP. Always you have to pronounce it SAP, right? Systems, applications, and products in data processing. Systems, it's a multiple. It is not like a single system. Application, it's not like a one. So applications, products in data processing. This is what abbreviation of SAP. SAP is a German software. Very long back in 1972, I can say the foundation, right? Five ex IBM engineers, they started, ERP solutions actually. No need to remember these names like Wellenreuther, Hobb, Hector, Platter, and Shearer. So almost like just rough figure like 2000 employees researched more than some 10 years, introduced in European market and, on 1st June so 1972, right? So there is a history. Then R3, what exactly R3, when they started before R by 3? So real time three tier architecture system. When I'm speaking that real time, so real time means like what exactly? Single tier, two tier, three tier. So we'll discuss that individually, okay, one by one. So before that, where exactly it will be suitable your SAP in a market actually? So why we are moving to R3 to S4 in a various sector? SAP recently, since 2017 onwards, so they are guiding to each and every customer in worldwide. So you wanted to move to S4 HANA. What is the reason like that? We'll discuss. An implementation of SAP, it can be suitable for any area like a banking, retail, automobile, right, pharmaceutical in engineering, like oil and gas, aerospace, steel, whatever. One thing, finally, irrespective of any business, any domain, wherever you are, so our product will be suitable to run your business. You know the SAP caption: the best run, the business runs on SAP. The best run your business runs on particular software, right? So that software like SAP. You know all this like some basic points where I'm highlighting. In this sessions, like first initially we are focusing SAP ABAP on SAP ABAP on R3 system. R3 is a real-time three-tier on ECC, ERP central component. So after that, we'll move to S4 HANA. So what is S4? Simple logistics actually. Simple logistics means SAP was simplified, your tool, lot of changes. And that's what our second course. So there we are going to attend, S4 HANA, ABAP and HANA. There you're going to change a lot of. But first you should know that what exactly ECC. You may ask the question why we need to learn this old thing. I cannot say it's old thing because yet still industry 80% of the clients still they're using Artha system only. SAP was given the deadline to everyone like a 2030 is a deadline to move S4 HANA systems, right? S4 HANA. But so deadline is not very near, and it's also like a budgetary issues. Like a client, they wanted to change the software and hardware, right? So we cannot say that overnight. I don't want to support your SAP. There are some kind of agreements, like software licensed version they already purchased. They're running their clients and business implementation. Everything is done here. You cannot say that I don't want to support immediately. That's what 2030. So I can see 10% of the clients worldwide. So slowly they are moving, right? So that's what, if you started your career in industry immediately, you can't work with, let's say, 90 projects in a company running R3. Your project, you deployed in a project R3, and you know only HANA, you can't do that. That's what, still it is not outdated, still it is not absolute. So it will take time till 2029, till we have some clients, they wanted to use like that. There are some companies, they are saying that, who knows, like HANA is success or failure. We'll wait for some time. That's a typical mindset of the clients. Let's go in this. So the next level here. So what are the customers and partners actually? So when you say the customer, a customer who is going to use your product, it's called as a, customer. Let's say I'm using SAP product every day, day-to-day business. Uh, let's say you take your car, or bike, or any product, toothpaste, or like whatever. So your mobile phone, your laptop, whatever the things. So maximum 80% SAP customers, I can say. When I say customer, he is not giving any solutions to anyone. He is just only the customer. He is using the product. Whereas channel partner means, you can say that, for example, Wipro, Capgemini, IBM, Dell, Deloitte, some international companies, they are using this SAP software for the internal purpose to run their business, right? Wipro is having so many areas, energy, right? Oil-based refineries, so many areas Wipro into that picture. They are the customer as well as Wipro technology. They are the service providers. So right, that's what a channel partner is. When I say channel partner, it's like a normal layman language. It's a dealers and distributors, I can say simply. They are the dealers and distributors, but we don't talk about dealers and distributor in IT side. Anyway, better to talk about, so like a channel partners. That's a good word. Okay. The next we'll come back later, the services and all. Let's continue with this ECC. What exactly? Yeah, before that, I'll take a pause here. Then you have any issues, any questions? Please welcome now. Let's go. Let's go first with R3. What exactly R by 3? ECC, I'm talking about EHP. What is this all? So whenever you start any software, R by 3, real-time 3-tier architecture, ECC, ERP Central Component, EHP is nothing but enhancement pack. The latest 6.0 ECC, we have a lot of enhancement pack, 7.4, 7 point plus onwards, any enhancement packages. Currently it is 7.4, 7.5 is also launched. Least bother about that, because very small changes only, but it's not like a big change where you see R3 to us S4 HANA. Just like a patches, every month, they'll release some patches for any software, right? You will get updates. You click that, the updates will be loaded like that. All right, so let's continue with ECC side first, R3. What is single tier actually? So why we are moving to R3? R3 is a backbone for SAP. I can say that. A client server, first you should learn. It's a SAP R3 is a client server model. So what exactly client? A client is nothing but there's a particular front end, I can speak. Like a server is nothing but a single PC or a group of PCs, right? It acts like a service providers. So where the service providers, like that's called as a server, whereas a client, it's a set of single PC, or you can say that it is accessing the services from the server, a small exe file or a GUI, a small exe setup or a client, or you can, normally we have a different way client, that is different. Login client is different. I'm talking about client server architecture. The next, moving to here. So first I'll take the single tier architecture system. A single tier, you can say that it's like your, so PC, right? Your PC, or like a laptop, whatever you can say that, etc. For example, so we'll take one example. If you're running small scale industry,
right? Let's assume that one small industry like supermarket business, right? Groceries, you can say. Uh, Initially, when I say like a single tier, means client plus server, everything you have installed in one place. Means you have only one PC, one laptop, only one billing system. You have having only one branch. For example, one branch you're running initially, right? So we don't require any other things. Same billing system itself, server and client. So for example, your business is running 24 by 7. Some changes required at a server side, some changes required at a front end application. Then, so you wanted to change your software at a front end. It's like you wanted to upload OS, update OS, something you wanted to change, or SAP changes something, plugins, something you wanted to do. Then your business, you can't stop your business, right? 24 by 7, your business is running. So this single tier architecture system will not be suitable for any case. Lot of issues in this case. You treat about your only one system, then for example, so what kind of issues you're going to face it in a single tier actually. A standalone application, before we are talking about like a strength. So right, there is a standalone application, persistent storage, mission dependent, like so tax benefits. For example, earlier it was a 12% tax. For example, now it is 18 or something, some percentage like that. So just a second. All right, so where we're discussing with single tier architecture system, in single tier architecture system, so compared to advantages, we have a lot of drawbacks actually, because you're installing everything in one PC. It is not at all good actually. So that's what we are discussing in this standalone application. Of course, one system, persistent storage location. It's a mission dependent, and like storage wise, secure wise, everything is proper. But I cannot say one system is good always, right? We'll discuss many cases where we are going to move ALE, IDOCS, HANA, a lot of journeys there. In ABAP side, they'll guide you. And I can say that so single tier is not good. That's what we are moving to two-tier architecture system, right? So if I say single tier, we talked about the drawbacks, right? I cannot take any time downtime my system, even for the client side upgradations or server side upgradation. That's not at all suitable. We don't use that. Just to understand. Now we are moving to two tier. A two tier is nothing but, for example, application, your client PC, your PC, my PC, whatever you can talk about client side. So in front end we are going to install some GUI and we are going to connect it. So whereas applications are running in some different area, right? Let's say we have only two servers, let's say front end and back end. And it could be like applications are running plus a database is somewhere, right? We have to plug in into that database into this system, right? So here also a lot of drawbacks to tier architecture system. That's what we are moving to the three tier. I'll tell you one example. There is no middle tier third layer here. So just let's move to here. This is wonderful. This is good. Always we'll move to three tier architecture system: presentation, application, and database. So we need a middle something like application server is required. We can't keep it our applications into somewhere or make it separate. So what is the drawback in this two tier? So whatever we spoke in a single tier, little we achieved here, little we achieved here. What we achieved? So client PC is separate and application database is separate. Let's say same example. When you run your application, your PC is connected application. You're going to write it your all ABAP programs in applications and all, right? So if there is no middle system and all, there is no buffering, right? So in a Java, C, C++, where you have written the codes like a third party applications, like I'll come back to the next slide. So here also, we don't have any distribution environment kind of thing. Every time you're hitting your server and getting back response, it is not good. We need a buffer and middle tier systems. That's what we are moving to three layer here. This is ultimate.
and stick with this. R3 is a real-time three-tier. So look at that. The moment when you log in with SAP, immediately you're going to connect with your application server, right? Application server, you're going to write your ABAP code here. And SC38 is a T code, SC80. It's too early to talk about in a day one what exactly the T codes and all. You assume that where you're going to write the code in Java, Tomcat, WebLogic, so and so. Right? So it's a third, right? So like a middle. So here we are going to write everything in application. The application typically connected with a fully integrated and connected with a database. We have some certain database interface is also there in the middle. That I'm not talking about in depth later. I will do it. Right. So one thing here in ECC side, you can also plug in any database. So whether you're working with a DB2, Oracle, or anything, so it's a client choice, I can say that. The moment when you purchase R3 software, a client can decide R3 with a DB2 server or R3 with the Oracle server. Later you can change the plugins, right? But generally we suggest a DB2 or Oracle. This is a reason. So now when we are moving to HANA, we don't want to depend on any other databases. That I'll discuss and we'll go ahead in the later. But I'm highlighting here. So that's what I'm highlighting here where we discussed here. I said clearly, so a couple of slides. Right. So here we talked about, so right. So currently, when you purchase ECC software, right, it's a traditional software. So the traditional ABAP traditional software is runs on a row-based database, whereas the latest one S4 HANA ABAP, where you're going to type it, where you're going to work, S4 HANA completely it is HANA-based solutions. We are not depending on any other third party databases. So we have a concept called HDB. HDB means HANA database. So we'll discuss later. SAP was launched in 17, early of 2017. We don't want to depend any other third party databases. I cannot say only third party database is wrong. ANA supports in memory very beautiful concepts, like very a very advanced level concept you're going to learn in HANA. Row based and a column based also supports. Mainly HANA is a in memory technology. Then it is a column based applications. So that we'll discuss next level. All right, so this is what the things. When I'm talking about Artha system, it is like open system. I can say like it can be run on any hardware, any operating system, any database, any GUI. SAP is not open source. Open source is different. Okay, still it is not open source. Not like Java, you cannot install, you cannot do that. So huge configurations and all we'll talk about. Just for the understanding, my SAP R3 will be configured. I can configure any operating system, any database. Right, recently I said like HDB is launched. So we wanted to kick out all this database. Still 72, almost 40, 45 years old of software. Then so they developed their own HANA software, HANA database, right? So that's what SAP. Obviously, the business, if you are using that some Oracle DB2, some other database, there is a kind of agreements, right? SAP with Oracle, we are using SAP Oracle services for the database. Some part of revenue goes to particular, companies, product-based companies. That's what independently S4. If you start S4 HANA, so we are going to use our own database. That's what no more databases later. Still, we are moving forward. We'll discuss later in depth. So that's it. This typically hardware platforms are like this. Presentation system, it can be SAP GUI. You can also call SAP GUI, but don't call SAP. So because I said in initially, if you call SAP, it's a kind of a German pronunciation in German because SAP product is a German-based product, right? And started in 1972. In the first slide, we discussed our SAP headquarters are Waldorf in a German, right? Indian headquarters SAP in Bangalore, Whitefield. We don't call SAP. SAP means a small animal, a pig kind of animal in SAP pronunciation, German pronunciation as a SAP. That's what we hesitate to call SAP. SAP have to call. ABAP don't call ABAP. You called ABAP. Don't call SAP, you call SAP here. That's it. And you can also connect with the SAP GUI, graphical user interface. That is we are going to connect. And the web browser. What is web browser? Through HTTP, right? You don't want to connect with the GUI. You wanted to connect with the web-based. This line of technology, it is advanced compared to ABAP, Web 9 Pro ABAP. You can send the link and they will log in and connect it. Next one here, the applications can be divided into two or more. I cannot say only always one application server. It can be multiple. That depends upon the load. Worldwide, if you're using 1,000 users, I can't accommodate 1,000 users. Not only user based, we are running multiple application. The each and every application, it should run it. I cannot say in one system. Maybe SDMM is one application, PP, FICO, different applications are running an application, and backend connected to one database. So that's what this is a typical so architecture level. This I'll talk about later. So it's if I start here, what is in-depth application server? For the just for the sake of time, when I say application server, a server is nothing but a group of work processes. Types of work processes are more like a dialog, update, background, enqueue, and spool. When we start some coding, when we'll start some reporting and all, whenever the topic comes, I'll come back and I'll show you this. And we can also show that in some T code SM51. So WP is nothing but work process. So wait for some time for this. And this is what the typical plans. So whenever you start, just I'm giving overview, I'll not go in depth, please. So 20 people, 10 people logged into this, your ABAP application server. Application, say all 20 members, we don't do same task, right? One person is doing table creation, the other person is doing reports, the other person is doing forms, the other person is doing some background job schedules and all so many areas. How can you say everybody is doing one work? If I say everybody is doing one work, I cannot say RISEF component. What is RISEF? I'll tell you the next level. RISEF means like, for example, in SAP there is a like a major topics in ABAP, RICEF, RICEF. Of course, W is a different. That's a workflow. It's a separate module. Reports, interfaces, conversion, enhancements, and forms. Right. So few members are doing reports, few members are doing interface, conversion, enhancements. Few members they started with the billing, purchase order, sales order forms and all. That depends upon the work task, work process, what kind of work you're doing. So that will connect a application server simply can say nothing but a group of work processes. A dispatcher will identify what kind of work. It's like, dispatcher will identify your request the moment when you're going to connect. It will check which kind of work process is idle, empty to run your application. It will give it to that particular task to this, and it will run, go and hit the data, get the database, and back to here, and send it back to your GUI to show your output. That's a one thing here. Then we'll talk about later in depth. So because I haven't started anything here, so then it is a little confusion here. So this is the that's what I'm saying here. So many steps. So that is what in depth you will get it later. When you run your program, you don't know simply you're running within a seconds, milliseconds, and nanoseconds. You're getting your output, but try to understand how the process is there in backend. We'll teach later. No worries about that. So this is a lot of stuff. Then how the database connecting, and so there are divided into three areas: screen, ABAP, and database. We'll come back that. Right. So here we are going to write some native SQL, Open SQL. We'll talk about later. Each and every area, one topic, one day topics. When we are starting here, so when should I start? Where I'm going to purchase SAP software? That's very important here. So in R3 system, so pre-configured client, so that's called as a PCC, pre-configured client. So I'll give you the small introduction part here. So look at that. For example, you have done a SAP. Before SAP, you started your career, your industry started somewhere. I can say ABC, right? Let's say ABC, they started their industry in 2000, let's say 10, for example. In 2010, they have not started their software buying or purchasing with SAP. Why like that? Because it's my business is very small scale sector. I have 100 people, so my budget is like a 1 crore. I can't go and offer, let's say my budget is 10 crores. I cannot go and purchase software of SAP like a big product. I don't know like whether I'm going to success in the market. So what exactly that? That's what some clients they started 2010 their business. They have a here, let's say finance, that's called accounting department. So here I can say quality department, for example, QA, quality assurance, then sales department, purchase department, procurement department, plant department, HR department. The outside industry, this is what departments. You have 100 people and 10 members, five members, or each area they are working. This is called departments in a layman language. Departments. Okay. Then later, so in a 20, like I can say here, later, for example, we are in 2021, for example. After 10 years, they decided to move to SAP. Then they decided move to SAP because this same client fellow now in 2020, this 10 years, during this 10 years, their budget is 100 crores. Then employee size is 10,000 approx like that. And typically to manage their business, they are unable to manage. Why? What is the reason? Then they decided to go with ERP. That's what ERP is, enterprise resource planning. Earlier, how they managed, before ERP, how they managed. I cannot say this is not ERP initially. Then they decided to go with SAP. Then when I decided to go with SAP, what kind of what kind of modules I'm going to purchase. In SAP, approx we have more than hundreds of products, hundreds of product. Which product should I buy? Should we go with SAP BIBW or CRM or SRM or R3 product? That's the reason focus on this here. Right. So what I'm saying that based on your department, right, you go with a module here in SAP module. If I say accounting department, then I need a FICO, financial and controlling. So that's what here. Just a second. All right, so I need a salespeople. Like I'm working with a sales department. I need SD. When you're working with the material, I need one department for software for this software, like material management, like so PP production planning for this department. We have a HR department for that. HR software is required. Like this outside area, it's like before where you implement SAP. It's right. Then the middle one, there is a ocean of the opportunities for the ABAP because every ABAPer, you are the ABAPer now. So you're going to write a RISEF component as we discussed early, right? So we are going to work a RISEF. What is RISEF here? I'll discuss later in depth, but just for the timing here, right? So SD also required reports, FICO also required reports. Every department we need reports. ABAPer, so I cannot say SD ABAPer, I cannot say FICO ABAPer, I cannot say HR is different. Okay. And your ABAPer, today you got a ticket, you're working with the SD report. Maybe after a week time, then you're going to work with a FICO report. 90% your job is same, 90% your code is same. The only that replace with the tables, fields, and related to particular, maybe 20, 10% of module variation, module to module, your code logic will be changed. That's the reason the ABAP is common to all these modules. HR ABAP is different, of course, that's later. So that's what, if your team size is, for example, 100, at least you need 20 to 30 ABAPers required because ABAP role is more here. So that we'll discuss one by one later. So many things. All right, we are moving to the next slide. So I'll take the pause over there. Right. So at this moment, I decided, means my client decided ABC is a particular company. Then ABC management decided to go with SAP. Then how many types of ERPs are there? Then what exactly ERP? What kind of benefits I'm going to get it in ERP? And that's I'll talk about here. Look at now. So where I'm saying here, there is a ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. That's abbreviation here. What is ERP? Why we have to move to ERP? Major reasons and all. Right. So look at that. So ERP, right? Enterprise Resource Planning, right? Enterprise. What is that? Huge business organization, it's called as enterprise. A big company, it's called as enterprise. Right? A resource. We have a natural resources, right? So there are the planning, how effectively you're going to use all these resources. This is what a natural resources, right? So started with M like this, right? So that's what we have to call as a 6Ms method. Generally, we'll talk about a 6Ms method here, right? So I'm going to utilize these resources into my company. That's called enterprise resource planning here. Earlier, so look at that, in my department is a finance department. We used to call all money related things into accounting department. This accounting department, you have to purchase, you cannot purchase individually. SAP is giving R by 3 as a pack. There you will get it, all this, okay, 13, 14 modules like that. So FICO is a good option to go and any HR related stuff, that same thing you have to punch it, enter into the HR, all material things into software, machinery things into PP, all sales related salespeople SD, methods is a project systems like WBS, so that is one. So many like this. We have 100 plus products. Can you believe? We have 100 plus SAP products, but you don't require in your company 100 products. That's the reason what I'm saying that this is R3 is a core. When I say core, can you say one thing? Without this, can you run any industry? Without HR, without without sales, without purchase, without customers, without accounting, that's the reason SAP was launched. SAP is the best run, the business runs on SAP. They are good at so core industry, I can say first. That's what a success factor, success story of the SAP is a backbone. SAP backbone is R3 because they did a lot of experiments with the worldwide each and every domain and module, each and every industry. They launched one common product for every industry. You do your business, that's a core business you do with R3 system. Later you ask like, you need BI, you need BW. I don't want a module, I don't want normal screen, I want SAP Fury screen, you want like a model pool, Webdine Pro, you want so many things for it. Right? This, if you want BIBW, this is one more separate software you have to buy. Then you link this R3 to BIBW. Raw data you are sending to BIBW, there you run a reporting tool. Right? So many areas we'll talk about later. Right, so that's the one thing here. The next one, you understood this, then based on this, I can see. So what exactly ERP? Let's continue. Let's say in this example, what I'm saying, ABC manufacturing company, right? So ERP, without ERP integration, what will happen? Let's go here. Then you can understand here. So Typically I'm saying that 30 years back, 40 years back story. One company is running, right? So forget about IT industry, forget about IT industry. We don't have any that Java, C, C++. 50 years back, you can say, for example. Then how typically they managed, okay? When you place the order, right? So for example, ABC is a manufacturing company. As a customer, I want 100 products within 1 to 1 month period. Then so he is agreed, manufacturing company is agreed to send 100 products. Right. Let's say within a week time, again you gave a call to this company and you're asking that, hey, can you supply 10 products? Let's say I'm the company side, you are all now customers. Typically, my industry is not a software industry. My industry, my business is not connected to anywhere. I can't give you that proper answer immediately. See that how? Because my manufacturing company is somewhere in a remote village. My corporate offices, HRs are sitting and finance and HR and your management sits on somewhere your country or somewhere corporate, cosmopolitan cities and all. And it's a telephone based earlier. We have to give a call to them and check whether manufacturing that process is done and go and check it in inventory and go down whether the product is available or not. Lot of issues here, right? It's a manual process. I'm saying that no more software. So that's what runs with ERP integrate without IT industry without softwares. It's a lot of challenges. No one knows typically. So tell me that what kind of issues you're going to get it here. So I can see here. First point number one is a delay, time, right? You can also interact, please, if you wish. There is a no one knows typically what is happening in your company. There is a lot of fraud, like so bribe. If you give something, you will get something. Double entry system, right? My file is moving from one system to other system as a basket to one basket to other basket, right? Pews are carried forward to this, like maybe it is in a not in the same city, then courier or something. You give those so many areas. Whatever you speak, it is a drawback here. Whatever you speak, it is a drawback. That's the reason here. So that's the reason here. So we wanted to move to ERP. My client decided to go ahead with a kind of ERP. Again, before ERP, how they managed. Look at. So before ERP, I'm talking about before ERP here. Let's go one more example. Slowly launched with IT. Each department they launched with one software. So write one database here. That is a second level story here, I'm saying. It is good because sales side one system, inventory side one software you purchase, manufacturing side one software. How many softwares you're doing? Let's say typically you're running 100 products. It's a very huge big company, you can say. My ABC industry is very big company. They're using 100 softwares, means 100 databases required. Each software is running one database. That's what, but the best example, managing with the 10 softwares or 10 softwares or 100 softwares, it is not a easy. That's not, okay, it's not an easy. The reason behind that, you have a good budget you have. As a client, you have a good budget. You can invest 100 crores. That's not an issue. That's not an issue. Maintaining too many softwares, how you're going to integrate, that's a big challenge here. Some applications, your Java is not integrating with this properly, right? Your manufacturing software is not integrating with this. Then so many issues, right? And also servers to maintain, licensed version servers you have to maintain, softwares you have to renewal, and each area we have to bring experts, right? So like senior consultant, experts required. Even though how good at you are, the other software is not syncing to other software. There is a lot of issues. That's what frustrated with all these old things. Then the only the first fundamental here, any SAP, anything you wanted to run. So the best run, the business runs on SAP. What exactly ERP? Look at that. That's its story here. ERP is nothing but enterprise resource planning. It integrates each and every department into one central system or a one central server. That's what ERP. I'll give you that definition here. ERP is nothing but it attempts to integrate all the departments and functions. It attempts to integrate all the departments and functions across to the company into a single system or a single server is known as ERP. I'm saying that ERP is a common story. Whether you use ERP as a SAP or Oracle or something, so that's it. So this is what ERP. Now, typically, everyone we are connecting with the same server, same thing. Uh, let's say same example, if the customer is placed an order, then we are connecting. If you're authorized person, you can go and check it. Centralized system, everything you can get it, right? So as a super user consultant, S user ID or like something, or a manager or a lead or like good super client, then you can access everything. You can see that, right? So that's what in industry, everyone they are looking for the SAP, right? So what kind of softwares are available in the market? So that also we'll talk about here. In a normal case, like we have a SAP, BAN, Oracle, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, so many things, and all this. Let's say first SAP, then followed by Oracle. So because of the competitive market from the SAP, what Oracle they did it. So they include this two things into Oracle. Still they failed. No more comparison I can say as a SAP consultant. I cannot say Oracle is bad. Some certain areas, and then who likes SAP Oracle, then they'll go. But you don't get that much features what you're going to get it in SAP. I can say that don't compare with SAP to Oracle simply. As a SAP consultant since so many years, more than 15 years, I was in industry with SAP. Even I don't believe, I don't suggest this. That's it. So many reasons. So I cannot say my product is very good. It's a proven SAP is good in the market, tightly integrated with so many areas, and that's what Oracle is also still struggle to capture the market. So this is what a picture I can give you. Every software they are experts into one area, but Oracle initially very long back, all banking sector, financial things they used to do. Oracle side, the PeopleSoft is HR, JD Edwards manufacturing something. If I say my product is very suitable for HR, but who will run sales and purchase? If you are doing with us finance is only not only matter, right? You have to interact with the sales, you have to interact with the purchase, product, vendor, and so that's what the good software to commonly integrated properly. Then that's what here SAP market is more than 80% worldwide. I can say that, but SAP, there's old picture. I can say more than 80 right now. So that's it. So this is what SAP introduction part. So you have any questions, please quickly can go ahead. Yeah, so your question like how does SAP makes money like here? So when we go with SAP, for example, I said ERP system, one ABC product, right? Point number one. So I can say here, right? So I'll take it this picture here. Right, so SAP mainly they'll charge accordingly this software actually. If you're purchasing or the software plus how many users you want. For example, you want 100 users login credentials you want. This is charging based on the this actually first based on the modules. Of course, you will get default 13, 14 modules. For example, you want a BI, you want CRM server, you want HANA server. They don't give everything free of cost in one place. If really 100 users, one package, 1000 users, you want one package, That depends upon the per user license, I can say. Okay, so then so many other servers you can buy based on the next level business, you can go and connect it. So that's one area. Okay, so the next, let's go here. Yeah, we'll continue. So SAP is strategically divided into two main areas actually. One is a functional area, one is a technical, and the second one is a technical. Functional means like who are started their career industry, like I can say like a core industry. The meaning core means before you are into IT, somewhere you worked. Let's say sales department as a sales manager, or production manager in a one company XYZ, then you know that entire system how to run the industry, production industry. Only your software cannot do anything, right? So your industry is also to identify how the procurement, P2P cycle, right, how you're going to work with a typical PP like that. That's what. If you wanted to become a functional consultant, no coding, nothing, but you need a core industry very well actually. Then only those consultant then they can start with the functional. What is functional here? This is what everything functional only. So right, we are talking about this. This is a functional only. The blue one where we are going to write the code, ABAPer will write the code. See that rise of I have given here. So your side functional, they do only configuration. They'll talk about client. For example, here accounting. So right, so this earlier accounting department. So right, so they have to give a complete KT how they are going to do it in FICO, and all the things which you have run earlier. Same thing I'm going to configure, or some extra things I'm going to configure. How you're going to done sales earlier. My client is using sales. You have to tell as a client to our IT sales team, right? So then they're going to configure everything into this department. It's like a module. A module is a collection of screens, like a tables, hundreds of screens, tables, and all. It's a one module. And each and every configuration, if you do like department wise, it becomes like a complete configuration of your system, right? A company wise, you configure like this, right? So that's it. So this is what a technical consultant, in a real-time case, client will discuss with the functional requirement gathering. FS we'll talk about later. What is that? FS and TS. We can also call as FSD, functional specification document. You will get FSD from the consultants, right? FSD, like I will write it, FSD. Then ABAP side, you will get a TSD, technical specification document. It's also called as a ticket requirement. You can say in a normal language. That requirement is like a general one format and document. Client is saying that I want this, that everything we are going to keep it here. Right, as a technical side, so you are going to develop a reports, forms, and all. We'll discuss later all this. These are demo sessions, right? That's what I'm giving some highlights here. That's it. The next we'll go. What I'm saying that technical functional people who are having the domain experience can work on functional side. People who are have with the programming knowledge, good knowledge, can work on technical module, right? Not only this, 100 plus I said SD, MM, PP, CRM, so and so. Whereas it, technical ABAP basis, and nowadays, like like a lot of things came into the picture, like ABAP on HANA. I can say this, right? Technical side, so let's say BI, so BW, right? Then I can say UI5, UI5, Fury also. Okay, so many models here also, please. But something to start your career as a fresher or a senior, you wanted to start your career in technical side, the foundation. So what we are going to guide, so ABAP. So without ABAP, nothing is there in industry. I can say ABAP is a programming language actually for SAP. SAP was developed their own language to develop any product. All these products are running ABAP code only, ABAP screen only. SD, SDMMPP. What is SDMMPP here? It is nothing but so backend some screen you have done sales screen like sales order creation, purchase order creation, material master creation. They're all programs, all the screen backend code is running ABAP only. That's what the foundation is ABAP, right? The foundation is ABAP. If you understood ABAP, the base is very very important. Then later you can take whatever the courses, whatever the technology line of technologies. If you wish to continue, you can do it. The foundation pillar I can say here, right? So that's it. So this is what are you landed here. You're learning this area now. Later we'll give you ABAP and HANA, then UI5 Fury followed by. So that's it. So this is some areas you are the techno-functional consultant. Means you are working as a BAPer, right? Later, so maybe you're working since a couple of years with MM related tickets, SD related tickets, right? So your expertise in these two areas, SD and MM. Then you can switch to techno-functional side. Then a very good market and demand. So people who knows technical and functional, right? Generally in industry, like so if you move like a team leads, right? Uh, project managers role, you wanted to go ahead, any areas you can go, right? So that's depends upon your so profile. I can say simply one thing. SAP is a vast, industry. In real-time case, also, not more than like 5, 6 modules in your life, more than enough actually. If you are good at so five areas, 5 technical skills or 5 functional, more than enough. You can't learn 100 things because such a vast, right? So that's it. And we'll talk about later all this in a real-time scenarios. And why SAP integrated, like why people they wanted to, they wanted to move to ERP industry, all the customers and partners. And major reasons to integrate with ERP, right? Financial information, tightly integrated with the customer order information, standardized manufacturing, standardized HR process, reduce inventory, so many areas actually. For example, if I talk about this financial things, let's as a CEO or like as a founder, chairperson, I don't want to dig into that each and every level. I wanted to integrate all my financial information in one place and I can see that. Customer order information, we saw that, if the typically one customer placed an 100 products order, so right, he is giving that. So each and every case, like how it is integrated. Then standardized manufacturing process, if it is any system is P1 is downtime, P2 is up, like some systems are running, right? So manufacturing level you can do the standardized. HR country wise or centrally globally wise, you wanted to standardize your HR policies. And a reduce inventory is a major here. For example, unnecessarily, you wanted to keep 1,000 final products in your godown or a stock point. Unnecessarily, you're blocking 10 crores amount, I can say, for example. Why you need to block this your money, or you can block your resource, right? Your space, and it's not good because that's the reason we are launching ERP systems to identify quickly. I can give you one example here. So, for example, you do it like a reorder point. If the stock is 100, then you start your production, purchase order, raise purchase order, right? So when to the vendors, right? There's a cycle. So when you're raising that purchase order to vendor, vendor will supply the products to your company, like that is what material. Then that products will go into that manufacturing unit. So right, taking that and start your manufacture and make it products. It's like a procurement cycle something. The next, you maintain minimum order. So whether you have a sales or not, don't make it like 10,000 products as a minimum order. Unnecessarily, you're blocking your budget, you're blocking your resource, you're blocking your godown space, and so many areas. When I implement ERP systems, checking stock and everything, I can do automation here, right? Cut down your manual resource and tightly integrate so there is no loophole, right? Every simple scenario also it runs on SAP. SAP is good, and that's what people and worldwide. So they wanted to do the business with SAP. This is right. So done this introduction part, this is only the basic introduction. And each and every area, we are going to connect in real-time systems and live systems. We will show you that live code. So thanks for joining for the demo. So we will continue with next session. So continuation as usual. Yeah, do you have any questions? Please, you can go ahead, please. So thank you everyone. So thanks for joining for the demo. So this is you can reach to LinkedIn. You can add it, and I can check my profile more into LinkedIn. This is what my contacts. You can shoot an email. So for the any queries and any so if you are interested to join that so courses, you can reach me out. Okay. So this is what my expertise area. So where I did it SAP ABAP, ABAP and HANA, UI5, Fury. I do have 14 plus years, 15 plus years of experience. I'm not only trainers. I did many, projects like three full cycle implementation, two support projects, and one third party integration project. Since 2010, I'm working as a freelancer. So many areas I worked. So my expertise in ABAP and HANA. So done. So certified consultant. I did so many certifications here. Then so done with more than 150 corporate trainings so far in ABAP. So 50 plus ABAP and HANA trainings I have delivered so far, and 35 MNCs I worked. So full length profile you can visit. So these are my areas where I worked. All genuine where I kept it. So right, so many clients directly we work with SAP Labs, Reba, Wipro, Capgemini, so many clients. So this is what a TCS, Robert Bosch, DXC. So third party implementations, senior level consultant trainings also I did it, and SAP central government projects also I did it. Then international training, rich experience, live trainings where I conducted in these places, Dubai and Sri Lanka, Singapore, Malaysia, so many trainings. That's it. And so this is certified trainer. I gave a lot of certification trainings also, right? So officially, where I work with through Wipro, conducted many trainings, non-SAP trainings, conducted, visited to 7 national universities. Good ABAPer required a problem solving and programming skills experience. So that's it. This is what my genuine experience where I worked in industry as a consultant. So training is my passionate. That's what. So I moved to training field and where I'm continuing my trainings. Okay. So thanks for joining the demo. So you can write an emails and you can call me for the bookings and trainings. So for the any online courses. Okay. So that's it. Yep. So thanks a lot.